Every
Ada, are you
family
well?
has a
Are the children
foundation.
well?
Some are built on love. Others are built on a lie. This is the story of a woman who gave everything, only to find out she was never meant to have a seat at the table.
The air in Mrs. Agatha's compound was thick with the scent of fried plantains and the quiet hum of a prison. For 3 years, Ada had called this place home. 3 years since her husband, Chidi, had kissed her forehead, promised to return a better man, and boarded a plane to a foreign land. 3 years since she had packed her life, her 3 children, her hopes, her small but thriving shop, into a few worn suitcases and walked into the lion's den under the guise of family. Her husband's parting words echoed in her mind like a promise wrapped in thorns. "Go to my mother's, Ada. She will watch over you. She will keep you safe." But safety, she had learned, was a gilded cage, and the warden was her mother-in-law. Her shop, the one she had rebuilt with coins scraped from her brothers and sisters back home, stood as a tiny rebellion at the front of the compound. A small wooden stall stocked with tomatoes, onions, and a few provisions. It was her only lifeline, her only whisper of independence in a world where she had been rendered voiceless. Every evening, just as the sun began to bleed orange and red across the sky, the shadow would fall over her stall. It was a shadow she had come to dread more than any nightmare. Ada. The voice was a low, expectant growl. Mama Chidi stood there, her arms crossed, her face a mask of entitled piety. Her eyes, small and sharp like black-eyed beans, did not look at her daughter-in-law as a person. She looked at her as a revenue stream. "Mama, good evening," Ada would whisper, her hands trembling as she pulled out the day's earnings, the crumpled Naira notes, the jingling coins, her sweat, her haggling, her hope. She would place them all into her mother-in-law's waiting, unyielding palm. "Is this all?" Mama Chidi would ask, her voice dripping with theatrical disappointment. "Yes, Mama, the market was slow today." A scoff. "Don't lie to me, you barren-hearted woman. I see you. You think I don't know you're hiding money? You think your husband's money grows on trees?" Ada's throat would constrict. She wanted to scream. "What husband's money? I have seen none of it." But the words never came. They were buried under years of conditioning, under the weight of a roof she didn't own, under the fear of the venom that was sure to follow. She would then take the meager leftovers from the day sales, go into the communal kitchen, and cook. She would season the stew with her tears, stir the soup with her exhaustion, and serve the family, her children, her tormentor, with a smile that felt like a crack in a dam about to burst. She paid for school fees from her hidden stash. She bought uniforms. She kept her children fed, clothed, and smiling, all while her own soul was being slowly, methodically starved. The calls with Chidi were her oxygen. Once a week, she would walk to a neighbor's house to use their phone, her heart pounding with anticipation. "My love," she would breathe into the receiver, the sound of his voice a balm on her wounds.
Ada,
"Are you well, Ada?
Are the children well?"
He would ask, his voice always hurried, always distant. "We are well, Chidi. We need more money. The shop is small and the children's needs. I send money home to my mother every month, Ada.
Every month?
Every month.
What are you doing with it?
What are you doing with
Are you
it?
mismanaging?
Are you
No,
mismanaging
Chidi, I'm
it?" His tone would turn sharp, accusatory. The balm would become salt. I don't see any money, Chidi. Mama doesn't give me anything. I've been using the money my family sent to—" A sigh of exasperation would cut her off. "Ada, please. My mother is a woman of God. She is taking care of you. You have a roof over your head, do you not? You are eating, are you not? Stop this jealousy. It is beneath you." Click. The line would go dead, and Ada would be left standing in the neighbor's compound, the phone buzzing in her hand, a single tear tracing a cold path down her cheek. She was not a wife. She was not a partner. She was a ghost in her own marriage. 3 years. 3 years of silent suffering. 3 years of watching her children call another woman mama with more reverence than they showed her. 3 years of her husband's voice growing colder, more distant, as he parroted his mother's poison. The breaking point came on a Sunday. She had just returned from church, her spirit unusually light. The choir had sung about freedom, about chains being broken. As she walked into the compound, she saw Chidi's cousin Ifeani, who had just returned from the city. "Sissy Ada, you are strong, oh," he said, shaking his head. "Ah, my brother Chidi must be sending you plenty money. The new car he bought for Mama is sweet, and the extension he built on the house, you are living like a queen." The world stopped. The music of the choir died in her ears. The sunlight turned cold. A new car, an extension. Her husband was sending millions, and she was haggling over the price of tomatoes. That evening, as the familiar shadow fell over her stall, something inside Ada didn't cower. It rose. "Mama," she said, her voice low, steady, cutting through the evening air like a blade. She stood up, her hands empty for the first time. Mama Chidi's eyes widened, then narrowed into slits. "What did you say to me?" "I said," Ada repeated, stepping out from behind her stall, "I will not give you anything. My husband, your son, has been sending money home. You have taken it all for 3 years. You took his money and you took my money. You have been collecting from both ends while I beg my own family to feed your grandchildren." A crowd was beginning to gather. Neighbors peeped from their windows. Mama Chidi drew herself up, her face contorting into a mask of righteous fury. "How dare you?" she shrieked, her voice a piercing arrow that silenced the entire street. "Is it not my son? Is it not me he is sending his money to? I carried him in my womb for 9 months. I raised him. And you, a strange woman he picked from the streets, dare to question me?" Ada's hands clenched into fists at her sides. "I am his wife. I am the mother of his children. Have I not been eating in this house? I have, with money from my shop. I have paid school fees. I have fed your son's children while you hoarded his money like a dragon." The air crackled. Mama Chidi stepped forward, her finger jabbing into Ada's chest. "How dare you?" she shrieked, her voice a venomous whisper now, meant only for Ada's ears. "Go ahead. Try. I will make sure your life turns to nothing. I will call your husband and tell you he is a prostitute. I will tell your church you are a witch. I will make sure your children are taken from you. I will hunt you to the ends of this earth and make sure you die with nothing. Nothing." The silence that followed was deafening. Ada's children, who had come out to see the commotion, stood huddled by the door, their eyes wide with terror. The neighbors watched, their faces a mix of pity and morbid curiosity. They had seen this before. Mama Chidi always won. But something was different now. Ada was not crying. The tears that had threatened to fall for 3 years had dried up, replaced by a cold, hard ember of truth. She looked at her children, her heart shattering into a million pieces, then looked back at the woman who had just declared war on her soul. A slow, terrifying smile spread across Ada's face. It was not a smile of joy. It was the smile of a woman who has just realized that the person she feared has no real power over her anymore. "You are right, Mama," Ada said, her voice eerily calm. She turned her back on the stunned mother-in-law and walked towards her children. She knelt before them, taking their small faces in her hands. "Mummy is going to make a call," she whispered to them, her voice firm. She walked into the house, past the smirking Mama Chidi, and picked up the phone. She didn't call her husband. She called the one person she knew would move heaven and earth for her. "Daddy," she said, her voice finally cracking as she spoke to her father. "Please, come and get me and your grandchildren. Come today. If you don't come today, by tomorrow, there will be no one left to come for." This is not the end of Ada's story. It is the end of her silence. Some chains are not made of iron. They are made of tradition, of duty, of the lies we are told to swallow to keep the peace. But a woman who has been stripped of everything discovers she was never truly empty. She was always whole. She was always enough. And she was never, ever alone.